Guys, I know I warned you the other day that I would not be here in class. Again, please accept my apology. I will see you guys on Thursday. I just want to explain your writing assignment to you really quickly, and then you're going to be drafting that today. You'll also have time Wednesday when you're remote to draft this. So on Thursday, when you return to class, that will be October 1st, make sure you have your full draft because we're going to be doing a peer edit, okay? Let me explain this to you. So the question you're answering with your paragraph is, how did Equiano achieve his purpose? So you are analyzing that slave narrative that we read in class together, the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano. So this is what you're answering. It says, after reading the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano and completing the graphic organizer pre-write, determine what single device. Remember, in that pre-write, you were analyzing diction and imagery. You're deciding out of those two, which one was the most helpful in achieving his purpose. So hopefully you remember what his ultimate purpose was. Part of it was just to expose the cruelty of slavery, but think like, why did he want to expose the cruelty? Ultimately, what did he want to see happen? Okay. Again, your paragraph should explain how just one of those devices or techniques was especially effective in achieving his purpose. Make sure you are citing an example of the device you're analyzing. So I kind of broke down the structure of your paragraph for you. Sentence one should be your claim or your topic sentence. So in your first sentence, you need to be acknowledging which device was most helpful in achieving his purpose. You need to make sure you're saying that without saying I think. You never want to use those personal pronouns like I, me, or you in formal writing. So avoid doing that. Your name will be at the top of your paper, so I know it's your opinion, okay? Additionally, in your topic sentence, you need to include the author's name, right? Olaudah Equiano used his full name and the title of his text. So make sure you're using that entire title. I know it's really long. Notice if I put it in quotation marks, you should put it in quotation marks. Sentences 2 through 5, that will be your textual evidence. So you did your no red ink practice, or you will be whenever you're remote tomorrow. It's going to practice how to embed textual evidence. So I call this your quote introduction. You always want to make sure you're providing a little background context for your reader before you just throw in your quote. Like, what's the plot, what's happening, who's saying it, to whom are they saying it to, right? You just pretend a stranger who's never read this text is reading your paragraph. You want to set the scene for your reader, okay? I'm also going to be looking at your citation. Remember, you do author's last name and page number in your citation. I told you for this one, you can just use that excerpt number. And then finally, the most important part in your textual evidence sentence or section is the analysis. So in your analysis, you need to make sure you're explaining how that device, right, your textual evidence, achieved the purpose. And then finally, pretty easily, your last thing is your summary sentence. That's just reminding your reader of your claim. So it should be very similar to that first sentence, but do not just copy and paste that first sentence. It should sound a little different. Okay, so I wrote an example paragraph just to kind of show you what I mean. This is not for Equiano because I did not want you to steal my paragraph. So this is for a text you may have read last year, Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail. Let me read this to you and kind of go over everything you need. So Martin Luther King Jr.'s use of simile in Letter from a Birmingham Jail helps expose the cruelty of racial inequality in hopes of gaining equal rights for African Americans. That's the topic sentence. So I highlighted it just so you're clear. Remember, you need to do four things. You need to have the author. Mine's Martin Luther King Jr. The device. Mine's simile. Yours will be either diction or imagery. The text. Mine's letter from a Birmingham jail. Yours will be the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano. And then finally, purpose. Mine was to expose the cruelty of racial inequality in hopes of gaining equal rights for African Americans. Yours is something different. So again, make sure you have all four in yours. Okay? Then I continue. In order to highlight the difficulty of ending oppression, he writes, like a boil that can never be cured so long as it is covered up, but must be opened with all its ugliness to the natural medicines of air and light, injustice must be exposed with all the tension its exposure creates to the light of human conscience and the air of natural opinion before we can be cured. Okay? Look at my quote introduction. I did not just put this he writes. Notice I said, in order to highlight the difficulty of ending oppression. So provide some background like I did, okay, in yours. Then you have your actual textual evidence, right? Mine shows the simile, like or as. Yours is going to show either diction or imagery. Okay, make sure you have your citation, again, last name and then the number. One more time, you can use your excerpt number. So yours will be Equiano, then the number, notice that's in parentheses, and then your period goes at the end. Make sure you're paying attention to that. Most importantly, your analysis, it has to show how it achieves the author's purpose. So my example, this comparison creates a strong appeal to pathos. Pathos is just an appeal to emotion. A boil is a grotesque, painful sore that is full of pus. In order to heal it, doctors must use a scalpel to squeeze the infection out. King is comparing a boil to injustice. They are both disgusting and painful to the person afflicted. African Americans are fighting to expose the sore, which is injustice, to the public in order to be healed of the oppression. They feel like sit-ins, marches, and other acts of peaceful protesting are the best ways to reveal the discrimination to the public. So again, analysis, yours is going to be very different because it's a very different purpose. Finally, your summary sentence. Again, identify author, device, and purpose. So mine was ultimately, notice I used a transition, that's kind of nice. The use of simile helps readers understand Martin Luther King's beliefs. The prejudice the African American community faces is awful, and all racists must fight to end it, no matter how painful and difficult it will be. Notice that is not word for word what I put in my topic sentence, but it's essentially saying the same thing, okay? So try to do that with your Equiano paragraph. Use this organization pattern. I want you to use this pattern, but with your content, okay? I am going to be looking specifically for, and you'll see this on your, let me see if I have it up. Yeah, your rubric, okay? Your rubric, this is going to be a 30-point writing assignment, so that's quite a bit for just one single paragraph. You're getting points on organization. It should be set up that way. Your topic sentence, so make sure you're including those 4 things. Supports your textual evidence. That's going to include your quote introduction, your citation, right? Last name, page number, analysis, and then finally language. I'm paying attention to your word choice. So remember, formal writing, no personal pronouns, no contractions. Don't say gonna, going to, right? Things of that nature. Are you using run-ons when you're not supposed to? So those are the things I'm going to be looking on, and that's how I'm going to be assessing this paragraph, okay? So again, you have time to draft today. Tomorrow, when you're remote, you're going to be working on no red ink and really kind of practicing that quote introduction. Wednesday, you will have additional time to draft, but Thursday, you need to come to class prepared. You need to have that total paragraph ready because we are going to do a peer edit, okay? Good luck, guys.